There is a sea that almost every major power in the world is watching right now. Not because of a war, not because of a disaster, but because of what it contains and what controlling it would mean for the entire world. This is the South China Sea, and the struggle over it could reshape the global order as we know it. Most people have never thought much about it. Did you know that every time you buy something online, or every device you charge, or every time you fill up your car, there is a good chance the resources behind it passed through these waters? This sea is not just geography. It is the hidden engine of the modern world. The South China Sea sits at the heart of Asia. It stretches from southern China all the way down to Malaysia and Indonesia. Vietnam, the Philippines, and Brunei all border it too. On a map, it might look like just another body of water, but it is one of the most strategically valuable pieces of ocean on the planet. Around 1/3 of all global shipping passes through here every single year. Trillions of dollars worth of goods, oil, electronics, food, raw materials, all moving through this one corridor. If this sea were ever disrupted, supply chains across the world would buckle almost instantly. Prices would rise. Shelves would empty. Economies would feel it within days. But trade is only part of the story. Beneath the surface of the South China Sea lie vast reserves of oil and natural gas. The estimates are enormous, enough to make any nation want to claim. For hundreds of millions of people across Southeast Asia, this sea is not just geography. It is food, it is income, it is survival. So when one country claims nearly all of it, that changes everything. Did you know that China claims approximately 90% of the South China Sea as its own territory? This claim is known as the Nine-Dash Line. It is a boundary China drew on a map, cutting deep into the waters of its neighbors. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei all have their own legitimate claims. In 2016, an international court ruled that this claim had no basis in international law. China rejected the ruling entirely and kept moving forward as if it had never happened. To back up its claim, China did something that stunned the world. It built islands, artificial ones. On top of reefs and submerged sandbanks, China constructed military installations, equipped with runways, radar systems, and weapons. Rising out of open water, in the middle of a contested sea. Did you know that some of these artificial islands did not exist just a few decades ago? It were built reef by reef. It is one of the most calculated territorial moves in modern history. Other countries pushed back. The Philippines found itself in direct confrontations with Chinese vessels near its own coastline. Vietnam has resisted Chinese activity in waters it has fished for generations. Even Indonesia has faced standoffs with Chinese ships near its territorial boundaries. These are not small incidents. They are symptoms of a much larger power struggle. And then there is the United States. America does not claim any part of the South China Sea, but it has enormous interest in keeping it open. Freedom of navigation, the right of any ship to move through international waters, is a cornerstone of global trade. The US regularly sends warships and military aircraft. China responds every single time. This creates a constant low-level tension, circling each other, testing each other, in one of the most important bodies of water on Earth. Did you know the South China Sea has been described as the most contested body of water on the planet? The danger is not just a regional dispute between neighbors. It is a genuine global flashpoint, a place where a single miscalculation could trigger a crisis the world is not prepared for. Taiwan sits at the northern edge of this region. Any conflict involving Taiwan would almost certainly pull the South China Sea into it. And a conflict of that scale would send shockwaves through the global economy within hours, not days, hours. The world has built its entire supply chain around one assumption, that this sea stays open. Factories across Asia ship through these waters. Energy moves through here. Food moves through here. The undersea cables that carry the internet, that carry your data right now, run along the seafloor beneath it. Did you know that a serious disruption in the South China Sea could affect the price of almost everything you buy? From electronics to groceries to fuel? This is not a distant problem happening somewhere far away. It is woven into the fabric of daily life in ways most people never see and rarely think about. The South China Sea is more than a territorial dispute. It is a test of whether international law still carries weight. A test of whether smaller nations can hold their ground against a far larger power. And a test of whether the world's two most powerful countries can manage their rivalry without crossing a line that cannot be uncrossed. No single nation controls this sea today. But the pressure to dominate it is growing, quietly, steadily, and without pause. The decisions made here will shape the balance of global power for decades to come. Small places, global consequences. That is always the bigger picture. Thank you for watching.